So our tagline is, we are mastering compatibility and concierge so that all you have to worry about is connection. That is the only thing. I also like to buy people's love, so I love giving gifts. Meaning I love giving people gifts. Like that's how I show appreciation.
Yeah.
One of my top qualities, like as a boss, founder, CEO, is that I show people how much I appreciate them. You need to believe you already have it. And I'm sorry, that might sound hokey and like manifesting, but it works. Just do it. Just do it. You figure it out. No matter what, you always figure it out. Like, especially if like this is your path. The most learning that you're ever going to get is just by doing it. You never know what you're doing until you're actually doing it. I think that when you dive headfirst into something and you persevere, the universe rewards you. When you believe something 100%, go for it. Who cares what other people think? And then you end up being the billionaire, not them.
Welcome to the Sandpit Startups podcast, where we journey into the minds of the brightest and the best the region has to offer. We're here to connect the entrepreneurs in the studio with the entrepreneurs sitting at home. We sincerely hope the next half an hour or so motivates, educates, or inspires you. And if it does, you know where the follow button is.
We welcome Christiana Maxion, also known as the Dubai Matchmaker. She is the founder and CEO of Maxion Match and Meet, the anti-dating app. This is going to be launched in the GCC, which acts as your matchmaking concierge. Having raised investments from venture capital, Christiana is currently growing her team and preparing for the launch this summer. We are eager to find out how AI and this tech app will play Cupid for matchmaking in the GCC. Welcome, Christiana, to the podcast.
Whoa! I'm here!
You should have kept going, man. She was loving it.
I was
Just hyping her up.
I was eating every little bit up.
For the audio listeners, Christiana was just like absolutely
beaming,
thriving right there.
I was like, tell me more about me, please.
Best start yet. Let's go.
Yes. I'm here. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
To begin with, why do you call it the anti-dating app?
Gosh, so many reasons. But I think that dating apps, like, gosh, it's been 10 years of Tinder, almost 11 years we're coming up to in September.
But who's counting?
Well, the thing is, I'm counting because I always get asked to write about it in the press, right? Being the Dubai Matchmaker, like that was my core business or is still matchmaking high net worth, ultra high net worth men. So I get asked about this all the time. And part of like what fueled my inspiration for Maxion Match and Meet was that everybody hates dating apps. I know in the beginning it created so much connection, and especially during COVID, right? When people were at home, there was no real physical or lockdown and all of this. But now I think that people are really thriving on that human to human connection. And what it has done, the dating apps, I think, has brought a lot of more negative than positive in the current day that we live in.
Right.
So in terms of being the anti-dating app, what we are creating at Maxion is we're kind of flipping that. Where, for example, when we do send you compatible profiles, and these are all profiles you know that you have compatibility with, and we show you up front, these are your compatibility points. But on traditional dating apps, the first thing you see is somebody's photo.
Yes.
And you make an automatic judgment of that person without even reading their bio or knowing anything about them. And especially my role as a matchmaker, I see that a lot too happen, like whenever like I'm connecting clients with members and things like that. And where with the app, it's actually more the first time or the first thing you see is compatibility. These are the things you have in common with this person. Then you can click into the profile and obviously see their photo, learn more about them. And in the tagline, match and meet, guess what? All you do is send a meet request.
All right.
There is no user-to-user messaging.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because so much gets lost in that, so much wasted time. When I think about our target market as accomplished professionals, firstly, like if you look at my WhatsApp right now, I probably have over 200 unread messages. I just like don't have time for it, right? And could you imagine? Then this is a person that at the moment lives inside your phone. So putting more attention to that and getting caught up in all of kind of like the hoopla that goes on, the pen pal. You don't actually meet in person. Well, we're changing the game with that.
it's good that the user experience is different, because when you
Way different.
matchmake for relationships,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, when you meet someone like more organically on the street, let's say, your first instance of what you form of them is like a very materialistic one. It's like, how do they look? Then you start to delve into all these other things. But when it comes to business partners and investment opportunities and things like that, that has no place. So it doesn't make sense to be there. So it's amazing that you guys have like said, yeah, it's matchmaking. It's like Tinder, but we're going to rebuild it because it's completely useless how they do it for your use case.
Yeah, and what I think when I think about Tinder in particular is that you're swiping from an endless pool of incompatible partners. Like, and especially Tinder out here. I mean, are we allowed to be real on this podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, it's questionable to say the least, isn't it?
Yes, that's all I'll say. Is that you get profiles with people's phone numbers on their arms, and you know exactly what the intention of that person is.
Indeed.
Where all of the Maxion members are going to be vetted through LinkedIn by us. Also selfie verification, all of that, just to ensure authenticity and that all members are aligned.
Okay.
And it's not just for romantic relationships, but also for friendship. Because not everybody thrives on a one-to-one situation. Right. So we're also going to be having member events. So like Maxion member events where it's group things. And because we have all of this data on and information on what you like to do, hobbies, habits, and interests, we will be curating all of the events for like, hey, everybody who likes hiking on our app, hey, we're going to ping you, hey, we're doing something hiking Tuesday, Hatta, join here. So then you know that you're going to be surrounded by a group of people where you have some kind of commonality with them and you can build real relationships.
Fantastic.
And indeed, and especially with dating apps, I've seen 80% of the women, usually according to studies, don't find an average male attractive. So there is a lot of filtration process that happens. So you are taking it the other way, that you don't put the picture first, you put the personality first. And that's where you get the connection. And when you meet, then you see how you vibe, right?
Totally. And what I love about what we're doing is that on these apps, right, you can filter height, you can filter religion, you can filter nationality. What I've learned in life and as a matchmaker is that compatibility trumps all of that. Compatibility has nothing to do with your height. Compatibility has nothing to do with your nationality, your religion. I mean, that's for more alignment in the future. But trying to like getting rid of that and kind of getting rid of those filters and just putting you in front of people that you will connect with, period.
That's funny because Facebook Ads Manager doesn't even let you filter that deeply. And they're like, you know, deep in a lawsuit about like privacy settings and stuff like that. Well,
they've always been, right?
Yeah. God, who knows? It's this ongoing Sega. So
Zuck.
Leave it to Zuck to figure out.
Yes.
We're going to take a brief break to hear from our sponsor, Middle East Advisory Partners, top-tier advisors servicing the owner-managed, family-run, and SME sector. Here we have with us Paul Donnelly sharing his tip of the episode.
Know your market. Understand your target audience and their needs.
If you'd like an experienced advisor on your team, reach them at me-advisorypartners.com.
I need to know how you got funding off an MVP without... I need to know how you got funding without having an MVP. How does that work?
Correct. It's crazy. So my process was, I feel it's so different than what I hear other people talking about what their systems and processes were. So because my core business as the Dubai Matchmaker, and I'm really, really prevalent in the press. Like I have over 100 media mentions. I'm all over social media. And I think having that kind of like background, and because the super success and extreme demand of my core business, I think investors are treating that as my MVP.
Yeah.
They're treating that as like, okay, this was like the beta test of does this work in this market? Right? And the way like my funding kind of happened was, so firstly, I started at friends and family. I think like that's the number one thing that you should start with. Interesting because I have so many friends who are in the VC space, funding space, startup space. And one of my friends told me before I even started fundraising, she said, it's so important for her to see from a startup that they have friends and family investment.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, these are the people that you love and you trust. And if they believe in you, because also it's not like just a random person, right? You still have to go home to mom and dad and be like, shit, I just lost you so much money.
Anyway, what's for dinner?
Well, yes. I mean, that's never going to happen. But so she was saying, she was like, start there. Yeah. Start your first funding with friends and family. So I did. I started with $50,000 from my mom and dad, $50,000 from, he's basically my uncle, but my dad's business partner.
Yeah.
And I closed that, right? And I said, okay, with this amount of money, I can start building the team that I need. And I also obviously had my own money from the matchmaking that I had put in, but I really put a lot more, and I always say this, blood, sweat, and smiles. Because like, I love it so much, and I've learned so much in this process. But then I put out on June 1st. So on social stories, I always talk about manifesting my goals, everything that I want to create and build for myself and for my family. And what I put on there, I said every first of the month, I write down my wins from the previous month, my goals for the next, and strategize to improve. Put this up on my story, and I put down my May wins, and then I put down one of my June goals was to close another $250,000 by the end of the month, so that like whatever I put, I think like cash cushion for or something, building a team. One of my followers messaged me, DM'd me, and said, "Hey, I'm interested in this investment," and I was like, "Oh, I've never spoken to this person before." I was like, "Hey, if you want to continue the conversation, ping me on WhatsApp." That was a Thursday because that was June 1st, right?
Yeah.
Thursday, and she wanted to meet that day, but I couldn't. So I said, "Hey, I can meet tomorrow though." She said, "I see you live downtown. Let's meet up." We sat down, and she was like selling herself to me.
Okay.
And she was saying, she was like, she was like, "This is what I do. This is how I make money. This is what I invest in." And she was like, "I love what you're doing. I love this. I love that." And I was like, it felt so good, like to feel that way, because I had spoken to like 2 other people before, and I felt like I had to sell myself to them.
Yeah.
And I like to equate fundraising to dating in terms of like, you need to be desirable. Like, why am I selling myself to you? Like, I have the opportunity. You need to sell yourself to me. Yeah. I'm the prize.
It's almost like not worth going for, or it might be worth like holding off and going for investment until you're at the point where you have the bargaining chips, because otherwise, you know, you sort of hinder yourself by getting a non-favorable agreement really early, which then you have to like live with for the rest of the, maybe you gave away too much equity, maybe you didn't raise enough funding, and not you necessarily, I'm just saying like it's probably worth waiting.
It's also about finding the right synergy in the thought process also, right? Because there will be many people who have the money, but you might not see eye to eye on certain things. And if it's going to be a long-term relationship, it might turn toxic after a while. Absolutely. So it's important to vet the people also and carry on.
No. So I go off of vibes, right?
Yes.
And I told her everything. And basically at the end of the conversation, I was like, "So what is your capacity and your timeline?" And she said, "Well, you said you needed 250. And I said, "Yeah." She was like, "I can give you 250. And I was like, wow. And then she was like, "I leave for Milan on Sunday, so I want to close it. This is a Friday, so I want to close it before I leave."
Wow.
And I was like, "Let's do it. Let's go."
That's awesome.
So so that's like how I closed that round. But what's crazy too, so I'm also in talks with the VC at the moment, and alhamdulillah, I think August is when
VC
we're going to
shopping.
have it. Yes, August is when we'll have that money. We'll have a nice cash cushion through Q1 of next year, which will be great because I know we're already going to be cash positive, or net earnings will be positive end of Q1. So I'm excited for that. But it's interesting when you said about giving away too much and all of this.
Yeah, it's possible.
My dad always tells me this story with Amazon and Jeff Bezos, right? I think, I don't know the exact numbers, but something like he accepted $1 million like to start Amazon. I think he gave away however much percentage, right? A large chunk, right? Especially compared to what Amazon is worth today.
Yes. Yeah.
But Jeff Bezos always says, without that, I wouldn't have it. So it is what it is.
It is.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that.
I mean, either way, you're going to be grateful.
Of course.
So.
It is a trade-off, definitely. But I would love to understand the tech aspect in all of this. You mentioned AI. This is going to be incredible technology meets Cupid. How does it work?
So our tagline is, we are mastering compatibility and concierge so that all you have to worry about is connection. That is the only thing. So, I mean, we're already building, so it's fine. I'll talk about it.
I mean, like concierge is a very like service-based word.
Yeah,
a hotel concierge is a person. I think they have a robot in the Rove, but
that's so cool.
Even that thing walks into walls and stuff. But I'd be interested to know like how you're tech enabling that.
Yeah. So as a matchmaker, right, for our clients, it's basically all the concierge that I provide for our clients. Now it would be AI powered and individualized inside our app. So I'll just take you through like a user journey, right?
Sure.
Let's say you and I connect, right? It's a mutual match. We go, hey, cool. I'm going to send you a meet request.
Okay.
But you haven't even spoken yet.
Nope, no spoken.
Just a
no
notification.
spoken. You hear me? No speaking. Yeah, not yet. We haven't spoken yet, but we see we have 10 compatibility points.
Okay.
Oh wow, we can talk on at least 10 things.
So it's
right?
just names matching right now.
Yeah. So, but you see profile, right?
Profile
you see
also,
profile compatibility points. I see what you put inside your profile and your photos.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know, okay, cool. So also when you show up, you know what he looks like. So I send you a meet request or you send me one, doesn't matter. And once we have agreed upon a date, time, and neighborhood, our back end then will book with our partner venues, right? And then there is messaging inside the app, but the messaging is with AI me.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you have an AI personality, which is Christiana.
And yeah, exactly. And AI me, where the
You as the
bot is
user,
trained.
not you as the founder, right?
Yes.
No, it's me. So the Dubai Matchmaker in your pocket.
Amazing. So it's
It's a bot.
basically like
Yeah.
having Iron Man has Friday. So you have Christiana in your pocket.
You have me in your pocket.
Right.
So this is exactly what we do for our clients. So let's say you get onboarded as a member on a Wednesday, right? From Wednesday to Saturday, we're learning about you. What are your preferences? And let's just go surface level, right?
Yeah.
What are your preferences in terms of diet? What are your preferences in terms of venue, right?
Yeah.
And this is how we work. We learn about you. We also learn more about you, like through compatibility when you give us feedback, things like that. That's the AI engine that's basically working with the compatibility component.
Okay.
And then the whole concierge component in the bot, and then our back end that's actually working to get you all these services. So you and I connect. Okay, cool. We're going to go Tuesday, 8 p.m. at June's, who is one of our partner venues. Best restaurant. I friggin' love them.
I've been.
Yeah, we
DYP,
have been,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let's say 6 hours before we meet up, it says, hey, don't forget that you and Christiana both like hiking. Talk about your last hiking adventure. Coolio. 4 months before, it says, hey, we know that you like sweet and spicy. You should order this on the menu.
Okay.
Hey, Christiana really likes, I don't drink, but Christiana really likes whiskey drinks. Order her this cocktail, right?
Yeah.
2 hours before, we have a partnership with Kareem. Hey, have you booked your car yet? Let us get you there. Book your Kareem here with our discount code.
Right. So there's the concierge. It's like, yeah.
And the 1 hour, we send you like conversation starters, things like that.
So does it work both
icebreakers.
ways, or is it just
Both
for?
ways.
Okay. It works
Yeah,
both
both
ways.
ways.
So just
of course.
10x is the impression of a person would have if they were just going this blind.
Well, yes, and also when I think about the life like I lead, right? I live by my calendar, right?
Right.
And like I meet so many different people a day, and just to have like those gentle reminders about like, hey, this is what you guys are connecting on, like like I think that's great. And in the future, what we're also going to have is, I mean, putting it in the universe because it's going to happen. Partnership with like UNAS.
Okay.
And let's say you have lunch at Zuma at 12 p.m. You don't know what to wear. Hey, we scrape and we find out this is what people wear to Zuma for lunch. We know your sizes. We know everything like that. Here's your shopping cart. It's already being built and being patented, so don't even try it.
We're going to take a brief break to hear from our sponsor, Inheden. Hey there, visionaries and dream chasers. Meet Inheden, your ultimate partner in turning your visions into digital realities. They're not just another IT company. They're your growth partners and a tech angel invested in your success. Are you looking to expand your business or create an unforgettable user experience? Well, Inheden has your back. With optimized software development, cutting-edge design, and a blend of in-depth research and marketing, they're here to help empower your ideas. If you're curious, head over to inheden.io. That's INHEADEN.io. for all the details and get started with your dream project today. Dream, empower, inspire in Hedon. I'm going to take a few steps back. So we got really wrapped up in like the whole fundraising and how awesome and exciting that is. Yeah. I want to know what you think contributes to being able to get that so easily, because there's a lot of founders out there that are really struggling with that. And it sounds a lot like, although the idea is great, a lot of people also have great ideas, but maybe they're not great at being able to pitch that or receive funding. So what are the other skill sets that you need in order to do that successfully?
You need to believe you already have it. And I'm sorry, that might sound hokey and like manifesty, but it works, right? And such belief in your product. Like whenever I talk to somebody about money or anything like that, I say, hey, I want to talk to you about an opportunity. I think that changing that mindset, we're talking about dating, right? Or equating fundraising to dating. I always tell people, like, after you go on a date with somebody, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, does he like me? Start thinking, do I like him?
Right.
And approaching it from that kind of standpoint, I think also changes your body language, your frame of mind, and the way that you attract it. Now, in terms of like, fundraising, it's so funny because I really thought I was going to bootstrap this whole thing. I was like, I'm going to bootstrap it. I'm going to do it by myself, this and that. I was talking to one of my clients, right? And I was just telling him about it. This was months and months and months ago. He goes, why?
Okay.
He was like, do you know how much money is out there circulating?
Yeah, definitely.
He was like, use money. And he said, especially with what you're building, he was like, go in it with a bang. He's like, take as much money as you can to build this thing. He's like, that's how you scale. He's like, don't wait for it. Don't wait for it. He's like, what you're doing, you need money for.
So when people are bootstrapping, often that word has a connotation of like being like scrappy and all over the place, and that kind of feels like that, but it also feels like really fun and innovative. But when I think of bootstrapping, I think of resourcefulness. Like this person is able to build something based on what's around them and the resources they have. For you, it sounds like your resources is your ability to actually get funding and be able to like get things on the move. So in a way, it's like you weren't bootstrapping, but you also had that like resourcefulness to not need to anyway.
I think I said this before we went on. This was literally, so where are we now? We're in July of 2023. This was just a thought in my brain in October 2022. Also keep in mind, I started my Dubai Matchmaking agency in October 2021. I am like a bullet train. And I tell people this, I'm like, either get on now or you're missing the train. And I tell that to people, but I've always been a person that takes action, and no matter what I do. So I think that people see that and they thrive on that, and they just believe in me immediately because I believe in myself so much.
Echoing on the thought of bootstrapping also. Bootstrapping is, okay, definitely it shows your resourcefulness, frugal innovation to a certain point. But if you're bootstrapping a certain idea, you'll be slow. An idea which could take, let's say, 6 months with funding would take 1.5 years by bootstrapping. So it's about speed of execution, speed of growth. And if you're in a space which people can easily replicate, speed definitely plays an important role. So everybody's always playing catch up instead of just going toe to toe with you.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your opinion on like the whole phrase "start now, get perfect later," or "done is better than perfect"?
Just do it. Just do it. You figure it out. No matter what, you always figure it out. Like, especially if like this is your path. Like I think about it, like when I used to work in education, right? Like, gosh, like how many degrees do I have? I have a few degrees, but you never know what you're doing until you're actually doing it. Yeah. You could read so many books. You can do this, you can do that. The most learning that you're ever going to get is just by doing it. Another massive like chunk of advice I give people too is, so when I started this is my first time being a tech founder. I had no idea what I was doing. I just said, frig it, I'm just going to do it. But I learned a lot from befriending people who are 1 step ahead of me, 10 steps, 100 steps ahead of me. And I would sit down with them and I would say, tell me the 2 biggest mistakes you ever made and how you wish you didn't make them or what came of it.
Yes.
But I also make a very, very large note is that whenever you do meet with somebody, like time is the most precious commodity on this planet.
Of course, yeah.
I always like make sure that I say, and how can I add value to you? For example, I spoke to this guy at like a huge company out here. And I said that to him at the end of our meeting. And he was like, he's like, I really don't know. I said, tell me. I was like, do you have a family? Do you have this? Do you have that? I actually put him or connected him with his son's now second grade teacher.
Oh, nice.
Because I just said, I was like,
Yeah.
I know I can help you in
Yes.
some way. Just tell me how and I can make it happen.
A lot of
So,
people
yeah.
are very timid to ask for help, actually.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice thing to let someone help you, because people want to help each other.
Oh, I love
It's a nice thing
helping.
to let people help
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's really random. That's so nice, though.
Must be exciting right now. The funding's here. You have a great concept, but now you need the people around it to make it work. So
Yes.
you have a tech person. You're in the hiring process. How's that journey coming along?
Many peoples. It's like too many to count at this point. So I have the original tech team
Yeah.
who's building the app. They have satellites in Canada, Armenia. I forget the other location. They're building the app. So they help with the UX, UI of that core app. But
Right.
then we have the AI, so the engine that's working with the compatibility, and then the engine that's working with the concierge. So we're building them simultaneously in order for them to come together and for us to produce in August. And it's funny because then I also had to hire a product/scrum manager
Okay.
because this is all things that I learned, right? And actually, she's one of my best friends here in Dubai. Like,
Yes.
I see, like, I'm hiring friends, and I know some people are like, oh, you shouldn't hire friends. I'm like, but these are the people like I trust, I believe in, and I know that they have my interests. Like, what's the interest at
heart?
best heart? Yeah, whatever interest at heart. Yeah, my best interest at heart.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's
right.
what it is, and I know that, right? And it's fun going through this process, like you said, just diving headfirst and figuring it out.
Yeah.
Without having her as my product manager, I wouldn't know that I needed to see visibility, agile testing, all of this stuff, and having like a Jari, a this, or that to like manage the whole project.
Yes.
I wouldn't have known that without her. And it's fun because, I mean, obviously I'm going to build Maxion to be $1 billion business. But beyond that, it gets me excited for the next thing I'm going to build and the next thing I'm going to build and this and that. So it's fun. I love it.
So hiring friends, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay.
I love it. I have my marketing girls, like organic, paid. One of them I might even hire full time for strategy because she was telling me, I used to work in startups. And I was like, what? So we got into that. So, I mean, I say yay right now. We are young, but I say yay.
Definitely. And it's much easier, right? The trust factor is already there.
Exactly.
And startups tend to be a little bit difficult if you're going with someone who you'd never know.
Yeah.
And then you have to have, let's say, a probation period, a cliff period per se, to find out, okay, if it's working out or not. But if you know someone, that's why the best co-founders or the best team members are those you know personally, probably first or second degree connections. It makes it much easier.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Because it comes with that innate sort of like level of trust, like you said.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be maybe like a task or two that actually falls outside of the job description.
Yeah.
Friends are like,
Always. It's a
whatever,
startup.
cool, I'm here to help. Like I knew
Yeah.
this when signing up. I know you're good for it. But when it's like maybe like a bit more of a cold hire, they might not be up for it.
And there's so many things
Yeah.
going on, right? You don't want to waste your mental energy and try to build relationships.
Yeah,
If it's a friend, you already have
that's
that.
right. Yeah,
Just save out on that.
I agree with you because it's funny. Like I was talking about this the other day. I said, I hire based on compatibility. Skills, you can teach skills, right?
Definitely.
I mean, skills and tasks and how to do things. I think though, like compatibility in the way of working that I like, right? So that's what I look for in somebody that I'm hiring. And also like that kind of, I mean, you can teach you can't teach IQ, but like you can teach people how to do things and this and that, but you can't teach people about people. Like
Yes.
those people, those soft skills that
Emotional
are not
intelligence, yeah.
teachable. That's what I hire. Like when I'm doing this, so I love it.
it's also a great way to fast track culture, work culture. Getting it right from the start is pretty important because otherwise you're going to get like 5-10 years down the line. Now I have a big business, but I have no culture,
Yeah.
or I have a bad culture because I just didn't like nurture it. It's something that has to be nurtured and brought up from the ground up. So, operating with your friends, you're already on that wavelength together. So it makes sense to just do that, and then the culture is
Yeah.
kind of already inbuilt.
Yes.
Probably oversimplifying it there, but you know, there's a sense of that. I would think.
I also like to buy people's love, so I love giving gifts. Meaning that I love giving people gifts. Like that's how I show appreciation.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of my top qualities, like as a boss, founder, CEO, is that I show people how much I appreciate them.
Yeah.
I'm constantly telling them, I'm constantly showing them my appreciation. And I think that goes 10 times further than a lot of other things.
Indeed.
It's also in relationships too, like romantic relationships, right? You show the other person that you value them, that you appreciate them. Or I ask I don't like to call them employees. That sounds weird. I ask my team.
Yes.
I go, what makes you feel valued? Because when I think about in other work environments that I've been in, that I love validation.
Yeah.
I want you to scream it from the rooftop, say, wow, Christiana is amazing. She did this, she did that. But I had so many bosses that never did that for me. So then I always felt undervalued.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where some people would hate that, right? So I always ask my team, what makes you feel valued? I have a team person who literally is just like, more money. I'm like, cool. If that makes you feel more valued, I'll give you more money. That's fine by me. But yeah, you want to make sure that everybody feels like, hey, not only are they doing the work, but they're being appreciated for it.
It's good to ask as well. I think that was
You
the key
have
point
to
of what
ask.
you said, because you could be like commending somebody over and over and over, like.
But it's
you
not
could
their
be-
love language.
You could be shouting
Yes.
it off the rooftops.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
actually, they're a bit shy and they don't like that. And in fact,
Yes.
it goes the other way.
Exactly.
So you could be putting all this effort and they just still wouldn't feel that appreciation.
1000%.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time.
Oh no!
Yes. The time has flown by.
Yes.
But we'd like to end on this last question.
Yes.
If you could leave the viewers with one nugget of knowledge, what would that be?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so
You have to pick
much.
one, I'm
I
afraid.
mean, besides, no, I'm kidding. Gosh, I don't know, guys. What is just do it. I think that when you dive headfirst into something and you persevere, the universe rewards you. I think about times where I've started a new business and literally, like, other people might think you're crazy and naysayers out there, but when you believe something 100%, go for it. Who cares what other people think? And then you end up being the billionaire, not them.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Love
As
it.
the saying goes, right? Entrepreneurial efforts may fail, but good entrepreneurs don't fail. Because
1000%.
persistence
I love that.
beats failure eventually.
I like it. I don't have a nugget of knowledge. I'll just leave it for you two. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Christiana. It's been a pleasure.
See you.
Bye. See you.